with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Thanks, Emily, and hi, everybody. I see over 600 people are on. Glad to have you. Hello from beautiful Birmingham, Alabama. For everybody who's across the country. My work is mostly in local government. I worked at Disney for about 15 years down in Orlando, and then transitioned to local government. How's that for a transition? So I know a lot of you worked private sector and came back into the public sector as well. Boy, how do you narrow this down to 5, y'all? As we look at our workplaces, as we look at the next generation, as we look at, what we want to accomplish, whether we're on the state, federal, or local level. Let me tell you how scientifically I created this list. I went with 5 of my coworkers in a room and said, "What do y'all think?" And we came up with a list. So this was literally not through Google or through research or an N of 1,000 people. We just talked about what are we seeing today. So before I even get started, Emily, you don't got to read these out. I'll go ahead and see them. If you were to pick one skill in your mind, hey, Pete, I know that local our state government employees need this skill. Let me see if you can guess one of the ones that I'm going to put out there. So go ahead and just put one skill you might think, and then if perhaps I name the same skill that you name, you'll give yourself a bell. You'll go, look, I'm a genius. We're all talking from the exact same thing. So right. Again, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Emily.
No, I'm waiting for the bell. I'm waiting for the bell.
You're hoping you got one down. I'm seeing resilience and patience and empathy and communication skills and how to be a professional and how to give good customer service. That's always a funny opening line when I go to speak to organizations on the side and I say, I used to work at Disney teaching customer service. Now I try to teach customer service in government. And it always gets a good laugh. Passion, all right, let's see what y'all got. This is great stuff. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's begin with what I think is one of the first ones, which is creativity. Now, the interesting thing about creativity to me and what we're seeing is, I think a lot of people may get careers or jobs in government because they like the guardrails. A lot of people like coming to work and being told, this is what you do, this is the rule, this is the regulation, this is the policy. And we see employees who are like, that's great. That's right up my alley. I come in, I do my 8, that'd be great. I go, where's the door? I'm gone by 4. And then they're excited about that. And when you're looking today at what today's consumer wants, whether they're a citizen or whether they're a vendor, whether they're a client of yours, they're like, are there more creative ways we could do this? I don't know about y'all, but we've never had to, and again, some of my stuff is local compared to federal. So a lot of you may be going, wow, we can't even play in that sandbox. But we're now starting to offer bonuses, sign-on bonuses for police and fire here in Jefferson County, Alabama. I mean, that's unheard of 10 years ago. And you may even think, well, that's not really creativity. I'll tell you, in today's day and age, everything is creative. Every new idea, every way to motivate, every way to inspire, every way to retain your best employees may come back to creativity. I saw a lot of people in there talking about AI and ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot as one of the skills we all have to learn. Absolutely. I mean, I think that definitely falls underneath creativity. We've got to figure out how to be more creative in interacting with our citizens. How can we use Twitter or X? How can we use social media? For those of you who are watching who might be in Alabama, I know this is creative to us, so give me a little bit of grace here. Business licenses in Jefferson County up until this year had to be done in person. You had to come to the courthouse. This is the first year that they finally gotten the systems and the dollars and all that together that you can do business license renewals online. And most people are like, it's about time. But I mean, it's kind of creative, it's kind of creative. And so, got people writing in here about sign-on bonuses and AI skills and things like that. So anything you can do. So let's do this. I'm going to keep talking because I know the chat's about 30 seconds behind. But if you're doing anything creative in your department, type that in the chat for me. It could be around employee engagement. Here's a new software we're using to engage our employees. It could be about processes. Let me tell you what we're doing. We are outsourcing our recruiting, and we're not doing it. We've actually hired a outside firm to help us with recruiting. What we're doing is we're doing this around staffing. So if you're doing anything creative and how you're using it, just type it in there so that people can see what some other people are doing. Some people are using Copilot right now. Some people are trying to go paperless, and it's so crazy in the year 2024. We're like, that's creative, paperless. And, it's like 1990 called. They're like, but that's how we are in government, right? We're always we may be a little bit behind, but we're going to get there. I love the engagement surveys. Trello's, that's a neat site. That does help you be creative. Some of us are bringing in professional consultants to kind of help people. I like the Empower the Hour idea. That's neat. Emily, is the chat going to be available on the recording as well if people have good ideas?
You know it.
Okay, awesome. So lots of good things there around creativity. And I think from a skill for government, because this is what happens. I've been raising my kids around innovation and creativity. My kids are now 26 and 22. And this is what you're learning in high school and college and all that. And then we put them in our government settings that say, don't be creative. Don't think outside the box. Work within this framework. This is the red tape and bureaucracy. And we wonder why there's no employee engagement. We wonder why there's no culture being driven that people want to work to. They want to be creative, and our systems may stifle them a little bit. So part of our job as leaders, go back and relook at those systems and see how we can do that. All right, let's talk about flexibility. Again, kind of ties a little bit into where I was going, but we have to be able to flex at a moment's notice. And you can also call this adaptability. A lot of you were talking about adaptability as well. We've got to be able to adapt. We have public service people, police, fire, public works, streets and sanitation, parks and recs, who are really good at this because they know when the hurricane is coming or they know when this is happening, and we have to flex. How many times have you gone to work and someone says, the internet's down today, the network is down today? Just this past week in our building, it was the boilers are down, there's no heating going on. So you're like, oh, so does the classroom that we're teaching a class in need to move across the hall because that's where the sun comes in, so it's warmer, and all of those things. So situational awareness, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about being business savvy enough that you can flex. Because and we'll talk about coaching in a second, but if you don't get your people to be flexible, your department is going to struggle. Your processes are going to struggle. Your citizens are going to struggle because everything is changing so stinking fast. Thank you, Maria. Flexibility is a must in the world today. Jennifer, I started working in local government in 2007. And I always had this standard. Why do we do it this way? We've always done it this way. And I was like, I can't wait to break that mold. And now here I am 17 years later. And in a training class, I'll say, why? Because we've always done it that way. So even in the course of the past 15 years, this change is hard. Flexibility is hard. I like that, Lisa. The pandemic did teach us a lot of things. A lot of pivoting, a lot of hybrid, a lot of possible remote, a lot of new ways. And then, boy, is it easy to fall back into our own methods. Is it easy to get back there? Kelly, I agree. This is hard. This is hard stuff. Let me tell you what I've learned. And again, this is where I get on a tangent, so I apologize. I think we've got great employees who want to do the right thing, who are maybe stuck in a process-driven department that really isn't allowed to flex. So we always get blamed for having low morale employees and people aren't excited and all that. They want to do the work, but they just get this, And so they're like, well, now I guess I'll just do it the way we've always done it because it's just so kind of like what Medea was talking about. We have to know what the mission is. We have to know what we're trying to accomplish. So let's talk about flexibility. All right, let's get to the next one. All right, this is interesting. Teamster. Let's see. Elizabeth says we get set in a mindset, and if anything goes wrong, it's a pain. So it's easier to have a flex plan. Man, that's genius. Yeah. Why do I want to set a backup plan? I don't want to take time to have a plan B or a plan C. Plan A will work. When plan A doesn't work, yeah, we absolutely fall apart. Yeah, Teamster. I'm not talking about Teamster union, so don't go down that path with me. What I mean is, when I was talking to my fellow coworkers and I said, what's a skill they need? And everything fell into this. That we need how to lead a team, how to lead hybrid teams, how to be a good team player. What about in-person teams? How to generate a high-performing team? And I was like, oh, Teamster, you know, I'm going to put it all under one, you know, because again, I'm a college football fan. All right. So I'm in the South, went to, I'm not sure where I went to school, but excuse me while I take a enjoyable sip.
Is this a good time to tell you I'm a Buckeye fan?
You know what? The Ohio State. Good for you. Good for you. Everybody, feel free to put your favorite college or pro team in the chat. Let's go down that rabbit hole if we want to. But I'm making the analogy here between how college football has changed with the portal. Thank you, Go Gators. That a boy, Christopher. Of course, my kids went to Alabama, so roll tide. But anyhow, the portal and the NIL, how that has changed the game. That analogy applies to us in government as well. For so long, we had a process. We had a, you know, it's blowing up now. Real tad. We had a process, didn't we? We knew how government worked. We knew what to do. Same thing in college football. And now the portal comes in and employees can move around in college football. And how much are you going to pay me to come to your school and the NIL deals? The same thing is happening here in government. Employees are going, yeah, I could work for your department, but this department looks a little better. This one might offer me more money. I thought I'd stay and be here, but this retention bonus is over here. Can I go over to this location now? Hey, what about this department being just an awesome place to work for your entire career? Nope, not anymore. So we have to create, and I do love that Medea was talking about culture. I'll tell you, organizational culture is a key driver. Go back and look at all your Gallup data. Look at why people are unhappy right now. I think the last Gallup data came out in April of 2024 around engaged, disengaged, and actively disengaged. And some of the data that came out of the last time that they did the engagement survey in April was employee engagement's down to its lowest levels ever. I'm sorry, not ever. In the past, I think it's 12 years, down to 30% engaged. 30% engaged. You know, that means 2/3 of your people are not 100% on board as they go. So the data says, yes, it might be based on pay. Yes, it might be based on I'm not working remote. But the main thing they say is culture. You know, how many of you have ever had a pretty good job, saw you had another bump? Hey, I could get 5% more over here or 3%, and you moved and you were like, well, that was a mistake. That was I shouldn't have done that. I should have stayed where I was for a little less because of the leadership, because of the mission, because of the culture. Everything she was talking about, huge. So again, being a team player, getting people to know what a team player means, making sure people aren't out for themselves. Go ahead and align it to athletics. It's not the name on the back of your shirt. It's the name on the front of your shirt. You know, this whole idea of working for a team. So important and being a good team player. Okay, a couple more. Let's roll. Hey, the grass is not always greener. And can I get an amen? All right, next one. Let's do this, which is coach-centric. Here's what I mean by that. If you're a leader or a manager watching this, you cannot, it's a double negative. You cannot not coach your employees. You cannot not give feedback. You cannot not hold them accountable. I was actually in Canton, Ohio yesterday. Got to see the Pro Football Hall of Fame for the first time. I was speaking to a group of McDonald's regional managers up there. And we were doing a little bit of leadership development talk with them. And one of them raised her hand when we talked about accountability. I'm like, what's your action item? What are you going to do? And she said, there is this manager who says one thing in front of me, but when I leave, he says something else behind me. And I've known it's been going on for 3 months, but I haven't had the time, the gumption, the wherewithal, the backbone to approach that person and tell them about it and how it makes me feel. Let me tell you, managers need to do that and employees need to be coached. You all know what happens when you've got two equal employees. One is doing a horrible job, this person's doing a great job, and nobody is addressing this. And you're like, this high performer, start bringing it down. You know, why should I bust my butt? So you got to coach them. Take those classes on how to give feedback. Take those classes on how to coach your employees. You know, coach them to not say that's not my job. When you hear someone say that's not my job, it's just-in-time feedback. Please don't say that. When you hear someone say that's above my pay grade, I can't. And if that's you, coach yourself. Nothing is above your pay grade if you're a leader. We just heard her say that. Now, you may not be able to make that answer, but that's above my pay grade is just another way of saying I don't want to deal with this situation or someone else. You can still work on fixing the problems, y'all. So, you know, boy, that burns my biscuits. All right, here we go. So coach, 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 and be coachable. And lastly, we heard Medea say this as well. I hope I'm saying her name right. Empathy. Empathy. Man, do we have to be more empathetic? I still have managers who, I know there's 7,000 local government employees here in Alabama. I still have managers who manage this way. All right, y'all, welcome aboard. Welcome to the team. Let me tell you my style. If you don't hear from me, you're doing a great job. All right, so no news is good news. All right, so that's great. Only time you're ever going to hear from me is if I got to tell you something or train you up on something. What? That's, again, the 90s called, you know, time to go back. You know, while some people may think that works, the only issue with that is the employee is walking on eggshells because every single time the supervisor addresses them or calls them in, they know it's for something bad. So, you know, oh, you have a home life and you have a work life and never the two shall meet. You know, not anymore. Not in 2024. Y'all, we have to coach our managers about empathy versus sympathy and how important, you know, I'm so tired of hearing about mental health days. Everybody needs a mental health day. Mental health this, mental health that. Yes! Sorry. You know, it's a different time and a different age. And if people are having personal issues, if people are having family issues, they're not going to leave those at home. They're here. They just need us to be a little more empathetic, to be a little more connected to them, to just ask, is there anything? We're not talking about HIPAA violations or anything like that. We're just talking about simple human decency. How's your day? Anything I can do for you? I noticed you're a little off today. Anything that was probably inappropriate. So I noticed you're a little off. Don't say it that way. Say it, hey, you know, is there anything I can do to assist you today? You know, so just be empathetic. All right. Be empathetic to people. Those are the skills. So let's go to the chat because we are getting to the end of time. Oh, no, it's not a chat. Oh, it's a poll. Emily, take this poll away, buddy.
Yeah. All right. So for this poll, we want to know which of the following 5 skills you agree to improve next year. And we'll give folks a few seconds to answer that poll. And while they do, Pete, I've got a few kind of follow-up questions for you.
Sure.
And we'll do these in rapid fire format. So
if we got time, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 1, folks are saying, I'm ready to be flexible. I'm ready to be adaptable, but I'm hitting this ceiling where leadership, they're not budging. They're not moving. They're doing their own thing. So what do I do in that situation where I'm not the boss? I'm not the one in charge, but things got to change.
Yeah, this is where what I call business savvy comes into play. You have to read the room, and this is a learned skill, and know what hills to die on and know what to get involved. If everything is an emergency, nothing's an emergency. So if I'm trying to be flexible because our vacation pay process takes 6 signatures and I want it to only take 2, but the county commission and the deputy directors all say it has to have 6, I could bring it up to them, or I could just say, this is the hand I've been dealt. I would rather focus more on, hey, we're having a retention problem and you won't let me recruit outside. Let's talk about this. And a lot of times the people who are upper have so many things that are important that nothing's important. Okay.
Mhm.
It's easier for them to just check the box and say, nope, do it this way. Nope, do it this way. So I want to take it back to almost a root cause, which is, and maybe your personal brand. Okay. People who are engaged and hard workers and team players and volunteer when asked, when they bring something up to a leadership team or a director level or a commissioner level or something, they're more likely to listen than if you're the employee who is always, well, this is wrong and that's wrong, and there they go again, and they won't take a meeting with me, and I'm trying to change this, but they won't listen. It might be you. Okay, so maybe your personal brand needs to change a little bit. On the other side of that, unfortunately, at the end of the day, once you've done everything you can, and your team knows, your team has to know you're going to bat for them. We talked about communication earlier. You have to tell them, I went and talked to the commissioner about this. I went and talked to the deputy director about this. I went and did this. And then you tell them, I pushed, I did what I could. They said the answer is no, and I'm going to have to support that. At least they know you went to bat for them. What happens is when you start going to bat and trying to fix things and help be more flexible, but then you just come back and are like, they never listened to me. This place is a joke and all that. You know, it's tough. Those of you who are middle management know this is tough stuff. Because your employees want this, the upper level wants this, and you're trying to please both sides. Plus you have a mortgage, plus you have kids, plus you like your job, plus you have, so like I said, it's not a real clean, crisp answer. You'll learn it over time, how to sort of play the game in the organization. So that's a lot. I know you said rapid fire. That was 8 minutes. We're out of time, everybody.
All right.
What else you got? You got one more or no?
No, we'll do a couple more at the end. Here are the top choices for the poll. Commit to creativity was number 1, and I will coach and be coached was number 2. So we love to see it. All right, I know you've got a few slides here to close this out.
Oh, yeah, no, this is just simple stuff. Last one, I mean, here's the 5 skills we thought. Some of you typed a few of these, I saw. Some of you did not. That's fine. We all know what employees need. It's around culture. It's around leadership. It's around those things. I think these 5 skills will help us get there. And I'm also on LinkedIn. I was going to give a QR code. I love LinkedIn. I'm a huge LinkedIn fan. It's just Pete Blank on LinkedIn. I post leadership videos. I like to learn on LinkedIn. I try to stay off the other sites. So if you're into leadership development and things like that, just follow me on LinkedIn. We'll see a lot of good stuff. So that's all for me. I appreciate y'all. It's going to be a great day. I love virtual. I hope some of you are cozy in a chair with a nice beverage, with a big screen. Most of you are probably there with 3 screens doing work on one side while you're trying to watch and learn on the other. So I got you. So, but I appreciate y'all. And thank you to NextGen and Govloop for having me. And I hope you all have a great day at the conference.
Well, thank you, Pete. I feel like you gave us a shot of adrenaline here this morning. So I appreciate that, especially for our West Coast friends where it's bright and early. So